Man, somebody better wake up the adjudicator. We've got cruise passengers suing a cruise line. Also, several stories of expansion of the cruise industry, and an example, a sad example, a tale of woe, as it were, of cruise passengers' very troubling embarkation day. It could happen to any of us. Yeah, that plus a whole lot more in today's episode. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to La Lido Loga. Welcome to the Cruise Show. I am your host, Tony, here to talk you through everything going on in cruising. It's a cruise show. It's for your face. For your face on a Wednesday, the 2nd of July, 2025. And well, if you can't wake up any old adjudicator, let's wake up Judge Wapner, because we got people that are ready to take a cruise line to court. The People's Court. No, this is happening over in the UK, where passengers who are claiming they got sick on the P&O Ventura cruise ship are suing P&O Cruises. Now, the reports are up to 60 people got sick. I don't know that all 60 people are involved in this lawsuit, but it's going to come down to whether or not I would think they can prove that the cruise ship was dirty. Some of the passengers saying it was filthy. It was filth. Yeah, filth. I think there's a little comedy bit about filth. But yeah, reading through the examples, a couple go into a cabin. The cabin seems uncleaned. They're finding dirt and dust and used contact lenses on the floor. Who's throwing their contact lenses on the floor? Another passenger saying that in the public spaces, like the bathroom on one of the decks, is just filth. Another person reporting there's flies on the buffet. I can't tell from the reporting what the end goal is, whether these folks are suing for money or what. But the lawyer that brought the suit, basically, it sounds like a noble cause if you listen to the quote, or this is what the lawyer said. While nothing can change what our clients have been through, we're determined to provide them with the answers they deserve. It is also vital that if any issues are found in relation to the Ventura, these are resolved immediately to prevent others from suffering similar illnesses. So seemingly a noble cause by people bringing this lawsuit to help other people not get sick. It was primarily like gastrointestinal illness, a lot of the, stuff coming out of both ends. But there you go. We'll track along with this and see. There's got to be money involved, right? Maybe lawsuits are different in the UK and they're not about money. But if this was happening right here in America, I would say that somebody's trying to get paid. But I don't see anything in these reports about anybody trying to get paid. But we'll have to see how that turns out. Now, let's return to the big pile of information and misinformation that is the story about the father and daughter going overboard on the Disney Dream this past Sunday. Since the event occurred, I've seen so many different conversations and stories about this. I saw on a very legitimate news site an eyewitness saying that the father had placed the daughter on the rail to possibly get a picture. But I've also seen on another reputable site somebody quoting an employee that said the parents were playing shuffleboard and the child climbed overboard. And then today I have another report here, this time CBS News Miami, talking directly to the Broward County Sheriff's Department, saying that the little girl was not being held as erroneously reported on some social media sites. That's a direct quote from the Broward Sheriff's Office. The little girl was not being held as erroneously reported on some social media sites. Certainly, that doesn't tell the whole story of what happened. And I've said it every time I've mentioned it. I don't know that we'll ever know the whole story of what happened. But at least the sheriff's office, through their initial investigation, and the investigation is still ongoing, is saying that the reports that the girl was being held on the rail incorrect. Yeah, it's tough. I've seen very interesting conversations like, is the father a hero, or is he just making up for doing something stupid? Who knows? It's tough, and maybe we'll find out. Maybe we won't. But I guess the thing we probably should focus on is something either tragic or stupid happened, but the end result was neither one of these people lost their lives. So that's a plus, right? Right? Now, let me hit you with 3 different stories about cruise industry expansion. First, let's talk about Viking Ocean. Viking Ocean has taken delivery of its 12th ocean ship in the last 10 years, Viking, when I came onto the scene, they were primarily known as a river cruise company. They had just gotten into the ocean cruising side of it. And their ocean cruise vessels have been voted #1 in readers' polls across different outlets over the years. And look, there's no sign that Viking is slowing down. They have a bunch of ships in the pipeline, so they're really making a play at that kind of luxury market. They've got 10 more ships coming over the next 6 years, with the Viking Mira coming out next year in 2026. This latest Viking vessel built at the Fincantieri shipyard is called the Viking Vesta. The Viking Vesta has a capacity of 930 passengers, the 13th ship that Fincantieri has built for Viking Ocean. And so we've got Viking River, we got Viking Ocean, but Viking also has a couple ships that are playing in the expedition market, the Viking Octantis and the Viking Polaris. All this to say that really at the top end of the general cruising market, there's probably lines that are more luxury than Viking, but Viking is one of those all-inclusives, no casino, a high, crew member to passenger ratio. It's fancy. It's nice. But look, Viking not the only one talking about new cruise ships. We have a new cruise ship announcement also coming from Crystal Cruises. Crystal Cruises has just secured the financing for 2 more of their cruise ships to be built over the next few years. These are even smaller guest capacity. They hold 650 passengers. Again, more on the higher end luxury line. And what makes this Crystal story kind of fantastic is Crystal was the cruise line that somewhat went bankrupt, where their ships were being held for lack of payment for fuel just a few years back. So really another story that speaks to the continued growth of the cruise industry. And then something closer to home, speaking to cruise industry expansion, Port Canaveral just approved $70 million to do an expansion on the already existing Cruise Terminal 5. They're going to increase the size of Cruise Terminal 5, which is currently used by Royal Caribbean, Norwegian Cruise Line. They're going to increase it by 80,000 square feet, going from 90,000 square feet to 170,000 square feet. We've talked about this before. Port Canaveral's really been expanding when it comes to the amount of cruise ships that leave there. And I've said it many times that a lot of times you get the growth of the business and the infrastructure will lag behind to handle that growth. And certainly that's true for Port Canaveral. You've seen the pain points, traffic, trouble getting in and out of these cruise terminals. It's because the infrastructure has not expanded to keep up with the growth of Port Canaveral. And what's wild is they projected a somewhat short timeline. They're going to spend that $70 million and have this whole expansion done by September of 2026. So just a little over a year from now, which is a lot a lot of work to be done from funding to completion. But yeah, it's good. It's good all the way around because Port Canaveral is going to continue to boom. And if the infrastructure doesn't keep up with the growth of the business, it could be a nightmare over there. So I'm glad to see this expansion over in Port Canaveral. I'm pretty stoked. This time tomorrow, I'll be on my way to the airport to make the journey to Seattle so I can jump on a cruise to Alaska on Saturday. It's one of those days where I still have a lot of stuff to do, but very excited about this upcoming cruise. It's been a while since I've been on a ship. I am stoked beyond stokedness, if that's even a thing. And I've got an embarkation day coming up on Saturday, and I surely hope I don't have an embarkation day like the cruise passenger we're going to talk about next. I used to say that the 3 most stressful moments in cruising was the embarkation process, the muster process, and the disembarkation process. Certainly, since the return of cruising, the muster process, the safety drill process, has become a lot easier, a lot better. So I probably would take that off of the stress list. But embarkation day can still be stressful, from the leaving your house and making sure that you've got your passport or your boarding documents. I think most everybody maybe goes through that paranoia. Do I have it? Do I have the passport? Do we have what we need? Do we have the boarding pass? I think that's an anxiety for many of us. And then for me, certainly whenever I'm giving my luggage away to the porter, that window between when I give my luggage to the porter until it's secured in my cabin and I'm unpacking it, there's always a little tiny bit of trepidation that I think lives in my heart. Like, is my luggage going to show up? And well, in this story, somebody's luggage took an unexpected turn. And let me show you this picture. somebody's luggage went in the drink. It went in the water between the loading area and the cruise ship. And another passenger snapped a picture. This was on the Carnival Adventure. They snapped a picture and they sent it to Carnival's social media. And they may have posted, but they sent it off just to say, hey, somebody's luggage is in the drink. And fortunately, Carnival, responded back to them that we're aware of it, and we've secured it, and we've notified the consumer, the guest, and we're taking care of it, all that kind of stuff, just to give some sort of comfort to the person that took the picture. But wow, look, what would be worse? Would it be worse to know that your luggage went in the water, or whether it was completely missing? I've seen that scenario too, where the luggage got onto the cruise ship, but it got misplaced on the cruise ship, and it was a 2 or 3 day process for somebody to find get their luggage found on the cruise ship. Maybe the lost luggage is better than knowing that all your stuff went into the water. And if you look at this picture, I don't think anybody really noticed that luggage went into the water. So it's, I wonder how that's discovered, if it is like somebody pointing it out or something like that. And it makes you wonder, like, how many pieces of luggage go into the water? Certainly a lot of cruising goes on. Millions of people cruise every year. This is one of those outlier events that doesn't happen every so often. But much like the lottery, it's like 1 in a cajillion that it's going to happen. But somebody has to be the one. And there's multiple stories of people whose luggage have fallen in the water. I think the worst I ever had it is my luggage didn't show up till like 9 or 10 one night. Pictures like this are certainly a good reminder to not pack anything essential in your luggage. So if you've got a CPAP machine, or if you have jewelry, or if you have electronics, anything that you want to make sure is always secure, you got to keep that with you. Don't give it off to somebody. I know people that will just give their luggage with everything in it. I don't do that. And then I guess the second thing that this is a reminder of is it's good to have travel insurance, because there's a rider in most travel insurance policies that says, if my stuff gets damaged or something happens to my luggage, there's compensation for that. What's the worst thing that ever happened to you on Imbarcation Day? That would be interesting in the comments. Let's have that discussion. Yeah, look, I think that's everything that's going on in cruising. Thank you for watching today's show. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe for more. And if you are so inclined, now is the time of the show where we dance. Get up. Get up.